We are back. Today is day 12. Day 12. I'm losing count of these days of the Miracle March. Super excited to be on again. Yesterday, we had a tremendous talk. I had one of my mindset coach buddies join me, and we just had a great conversation with some of the people in the audience. And today, we're back again for day 12 with a very, very special guest who I've been able to meet in person actually. And I'm excited about today. Before we get into today, do remember my birthday celebration is tomorrow. Guys, it's finally tomorrow. We have over 500 people registered for this event, but that is still a half of what I want to be in the event. So I still need you guys' help in promoting and helping me spread the word to share a bunch of experts coming on to really help with mindset, to help with just understanding new opportunities, new things. Because when you know and you're aware, you're able to see things and you're able to start making a lot more money. So tomorrow, go share the link. Don't wait for tomorrow to share a link. Share the link today. Tomorrow is the event, but and it's also my birthday. So that would be a happy birthday to me. It's free for me to be able to give back to you guys. So let us bring Michael. Michael, how are you, bro?
Hey, Keston, thank you very much for the opportunity to do this. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you, especially
Yeah,
one-on-one.
likewise, man. So tell everyone that's listening a little bit about yourself and ask any questions you want. We get started.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'll hit the ground running. So, just a little bit about real estate. That's what that's where we definitely have a lot of commonality is real estate. So, I've been investing in real estate. I do work a full-time job, but I've been investing in real estate for the last several years. Started learning about it maybe 5 years ago. Started investing in my local market. When I was in the Army, I was stationed up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and that's where we started investing. We started with a house hack duplex. So that's pretty cool, great
Mm-hmm.
returns. Then did a fourplex similar style, and we're like, well, this is really cool. Now we have a lot of proof of concept here. Then I started doing some off-market deal finding, got a 20 unit using the Morby method. So
Wow.
kind of hit. I would say that was kind of the peak of my real estate, and then we transitioned a lot. We moved out of Alaska. I got out of the Army. We moved back down to San Diego. Um, at the same time, I was constantly wholesaling out of state, little few deals here and there, but moving down to San Diego, trying to adjust to getting out of the Army, moving, whole different real estate market than Alaska, where Alaska you can get cash on cash returns of 10+% pretty
Oh man.
consistently, right? Like it wasn't
Oh.
too hard. And coming here and just begging and hoping you could at least get cash flow neutral within a reasonable amount of time. We were able
Yeah.
to find a 3 unit that were house hacking, but since then, that being part of sub two, there's a lot of shiny objects out there. There's so many things everyone's doing. I've lost track of what I should be doing pretty
Mm-hmm.
much because I'm chasing one thing after another. I've been in for since September, haven't necessarily closed any deals outside of what I was normally doing
Mm-hmm.
as a result of this because I'm just chasing one thing after another. I took some time to reflect back on what's kind of got me to where I'm at, and it's been multifamily investing. So I'm looking to continue growing on that, incorporate creative financing, but just trying to get the mindset for that journey that's going to come. It is a transformation to like think of how much larger the deals I'm going to have to, just all the different components and not being a solopreneur, having to have being smart with, I can't scale anymore on
Yeah.
my own. So it's like understanding how to strategically partner with others and dealing with bigger dollar amounts and bigger deals. A lot of mindset that goes in with that, and then a lot of consistency and accountability that I need to go in with that. So it's like that's really where my focus is at, is trying to better identify. I know it's a lot I'm throwing at you at once, but trying to
Keep
identify
it coming. Keep it coming.
trying to identify really how to really define my goals, get better at that so then I know that the habits that I'm implementing lead me to those end goals, right? And I know that can change, but just having some of that to then build the structure and habits to get me there, I guess is kind of the full approach that I'm looking at, goals
Yeah.
making those reality.
And man, your story is so amazing as to what you've been able to achieve even up until this point. And that was actually my first question back to you would be what's the goal? What is the goal? And you know, I hear you're into real estate. I hear you're doing well, especially in comparison to people who don't take action and just kind of think about it, right? Versus do it. So you're doing pretty well. Now, what are you doing it for? Is the question.
That's a great question. So I will be transparent. I do a cardinal sin in the world of real estate. Since I do work my W 2, I do put a lot of money into the stock market. And the goal has always been there's a community called Financial Independence Retire Early. The idea is you spend money on the things you like, but then you save and invest the rest basically into index funds till you hit a certain amount and you can withdraw from that indefinitely. I'm very on board with that and always have been. And I still do. Most of my W 2 income goes towards that. But when we started getting into real estate over and over again, I started realizing, dang, like I'm giving up a lot of control of my investment dollars by doing that. And I can really accelerate my path and grow it much larger than what I was
Mhm.
expecting to retire at, even early at 35, 40 years old through the stock market. So now it's like, wait, real estate can help me get there faster, but I'm still investing 75% of my income, W 2 income, to, like pretty much like a massive amount to keep just buying these index funds. And I think that's part of it is my goal was financial independence through, okay, it's going to take 10, 15 years of doing this consistently. I'm going to get the 2 million, 3 million that I need to be able to withdraw indefinitely and sustain my lifestyle. And then real estate kind of threw a wrench in it because of the fact that it can help massively accelerate and grow the trajectory of that. So
Uh,
that's been like a shift. Like I'm so used to doing one thing. I've added real estate through little to no money down investing, right?
mhm.
Through creative financing and um, house hacking, that now it's like, wait, I don't even know. I'm just kind of keep investing and like I don't have that clear. The goal is to be financially independent to the point where I can just work on the things that I want to work on and dedicate my time and resources to those things. I don't think I'll ever stop working. It's just having the freedom to work on the things that truly bring me more joy.
Yeah, 100%. What would that number be for you? What number per month passively would be like, I could do absolutely whatever I want?
So I would say the easiest number to say right now would be just recreate like so around the, let's say, $12,000 a month of passive income. And I know that is a large amount, but like that as a, well, it's relatively large, right? It's large to people who making 36,000 a year. It's nothing compared to people
Sure.
making 40,000 a month plus. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's part of the
right.
mindset stuff,
Yeah.
but for me, I feel like that's a very comfortable amount to ensure that I can handle the ups and downs of life, and fully leave the W 2, like fully not even have to feel restricted
Mhm.
because I know that at any point I can if anything goes wrong, I can significantly reduce the amount I'm spending with that amount. It's not so tight that I'm kind of, yeah. So I think somewhere between that 10 to $12,000 range,
Cool.
I,
Do you
I would
wanna
say.
do you wanna get to that amount using real estate or some of your other strategies that you mentioned, like your, um, investing in the stock market and things like that?
Yeah. So that's a good question because the thing with the stock market is I've always just thought, okay, it's 10, 15 years out. Just keep investing. Whatever happens, it'll grow,
Yeah.
historically 10% S&P, whatever, the metrics. And it was more about the total dollar amount. And that translates to monthly pull. But that was really looking at like six, $7,000 in like a 10, 15 years time span. Six, $7,000 of cash flow a month passively, basically.
Mhm.
With real estate, it's really accelerated. So I'd like to get there with real estate because it's just the leverage and the ability to find. I mean, it's a lot more work, right, than just auto
Sure,
investing. It's
sure.
a lot more work, especially finding great deals. So the goal is to get there through real estate, ideally. So then I can go more focused on real estate because I know
Mhm.
I have real estate will just get me there so much faster because I really don't want to work a W 2 10, 15 more years if I
Yeah.
invest in, better.
So you like multifamily. I
Mhm.
heard you say that. But I also know you have some Airbnbs.
As part of multifamily.
That's a part of multifamily,
Mhm.
which I think is amazing. So is the plan how many units would you want? Because right now you do smaller multifamily. You do have a 20 something unit as well,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. 20 rental cabins in Alaska.
20 rental cabins. That's amazing, bro.
They're cash flow monsters, but they will never appreciate.
From what I hear, you want cash flow, which it
Mhm.
works,
Yeah.
right? So let's say you are at least a quarter of the way there
Mhm.
to your goal, at least,
Mhm.
right? Now, are you gonna look for more multifamily properties that could get you to this goal with one deal? So you buy a 100 unit, cash flowing way over $10,000 a month, or are you wanting to buy 4 units, or and buy several of these deals? Like, what are your thoughts on how you want to approach it?
That's definitely the hard part because my experience really is in the smaller multifamily. I
Yeah,
am in, I'm starting a mentorship or part of one, some trainings and all that for larger multifamily to make that shift.
yeah,
I'm looking to do that actively. We have our resources within Sub 2 multifamily. We have great connections, and it, it it's just, I don't even know how to say it. It's overwhelming, the because it is a team sport. Multifamily
hmm,
is a team sport, and I've done everything on my own. So I'm
hmm,
trying to incorporate teams, but I've made bad mistakes in this last couple months as well, where I was very interested in, working on a 10 unit with partners. I didn't vet my partners well. I lost 10K of EM, well, 16K, and it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world, but I don't, my wife and I's car don't cost 16K combined. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's a lot of money in regards to like how we spend our resources. So it's 16K lost because of a bad partnership. Couldn't get closed. My EMD was on the table, or my money was on the table for that. So I tried to do it. I just haven't done it right. And I think part of it is just not knowing what I don't know. Ideally, to answer your question, theoretically, ideally, I'd like
hmm,
to do it in one big bang, one 100 unit, one large roof, or two, three, four large roofs. Are all I got to worry about. And it's so much more business focused, so much more analytical than sometimes even in the 4 units. Theoretically, it's still multifamily. You can talk numbers, but there's still a lot more emotion to it. So I like the concept of larger multifamily. I just don't know yet how to do that.
So what I hear is that you don't know yet how to get a partnership or to work with people who are trustworthy, and you guys vibe on each other going in the same direction, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I have learned, and I'm still learning, the first thing you connect with partners on is core values.
Mm-hmm.
What are those core values? And not by me saying, "Hey, Michael, what's your core values?" Right? Because on an interview you say whatever you want to say, but really asking questions that would give you the answer to understand someone's core values. And here's a question, and you could answer this question to me. What's Who's a role model that you've looked up to?
Okay. So in my actual life, it's gonna have to be my mom and my grandpa, because my mom was a single mom working multiple jobs, working really hard, and she worked so hard, and it just makes me sad in the grand scheme of things when people have to work so hard and they don't get a lot of the financial return that they deserve, right?
Sure.
Like people can work in like janitors or whoever, and I understand leverage and all that, but like when someone has to work really hard and doesn't get the financial awards for it, it
Yeah.
makes me it makes me really sad, but it's
Yeah.
also limiting to my mindset, my financial mindset, because it shows me work really hard and don't necessarily get financially rewarded for it. So it's one of those financial blueprint things I'm trying to unlock, that, it's
Yep.
not just working hard. That's my number one strength, is, or has been, working hard. It's translating that to working smarter, leveraging, being a leader, and not just in a W-2, because I am a leader in W-2, but like doing that for my own life to like be able to delegate and all that. So that, and then my grandpa, because he is just like in my opinion, he recently passed away, but he like a man's man, worked hard, did everything that needed to be around the house, like just an absolute role model. But in regards to financial role models, I don't necessarily have anyone except for the mentorships that I've paid for, which have always been real estate investors who are go-givers first, who add value to other people's lives first. And that's why, Pace resonates so much. And that's why some of my, other mentors in those regards resonate so much, because yes, obviously there's something in it for them as the mentors, obviously, but you see the genuine desire of certain people to really want to help others. It's not just like in the way they do business. It's not very selfish. It's a very selfless type of way that they do it, even though they get benefits. We all understand that, but it's more of a selfish way of, or selfless way of, handling these
Yeah.
mentorships.
So here's what I heard, and I'll tell you some of the core values that I pulled out of that, right? So I pulled out resilience, because both your grandpa and your mom, being a single mom, being able to really make things work. So hard worker. And so I could see the ability to start something and finish it. Right. I picked up, because those are the people you role model. Right. And so from those stories, I know, like, having Michael as a partner on my team, he's gonna go all the way to the end. I could see that. Now, here's what I also see. Michael may not be a great partner because he wants to work and do everything himself. Why? Because both grandpa and ma, they made it happen. They did it all alone. A man's man. If anything needs to get done, he'll get it done, and just go, like. So that doesn't say team, right? And
100%.
I'm pulling you apart to show you how you pull your partners apart. Right. And you gave me things, and you see how passionate you was about it. You're like, this is who I am. Like, these people are my role models. But then from the other side that you're looking from, it's like, okay, these are great qualities here. These are also qualities that are great, but on a team that, depending on where the position that you're going to play in, it could be great for some and terrible for some. Because in a position that I need you to be a team player, it may cause a little bit of, right? But it's also pretty interesting because you're a leader at your job. So you know how to delegate, but you probably got there because you're such a hard worker. The things that you do, you possibly, and I'm assuming here, you're in isolation, and you got to be able to work alone and give information to either your boss or something like that. You can't do the huge collaboration type of thing, simply from the stories that you told.
Yeah, no, that's definitely right. That is how I tend to operate, I guess, is the way to say it. I'm not thankfully the two direct reports underneath me are very much relational, and they have a lot of strengths in relationship building and all that. So they do that. I mean, our team is over 80 people, and they really help with building those relationships with the supervisors underneath them and the staff underneath the supervisors. And for me, it's like, okay, this is the direction, this is the work that needs to get done, like, let's delegate it out. And just, it's part of it is I just couldn't do it even if I wanted to. There just isn't enough time. Like, even no matter how much I want to do it, I couldn't. And honestly, in my role of delegating and leading them, they're much better at those. For me, like they are genuinely better than I could do it. They do it better than I could, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So it's
Yeah.
like much easier to delegate those things out. In real estate, it's hard. First, because I feel like I can do a little bit of everything, but I still haven't necessarily defined what are my avatars. I still don't know, since it's sub two, first thing I say, find your avatar. I still don't know what my actual avatar is and where my strengths necessarily lie, because I have visionary and integrator tendencies.
Let me help you.
Yeah.
Take the same role that you have at your job, because if you're a great visionary and you have good management skills where you could see what needs to be done, then you need the other people under you that's good at executing, that's better than you. It doesn't mean you don't know. You understand it, but people are better than you at executing at it. Right? And that's a great place to be, because I mean, I feel like we're very similar in that sense, where I'm a terrible manager. Like to the employees directly. Oh my God, because I fly so high. I'm like, go, get it done. Like, right? Like, why is this not done? And that communication needs to be dumbed down to someone who is more relational, more like, I'm always dreaming. I'm always like, oh, we could do this. And I have my way of doing it. And I sometimes impose my way on everyone, which is not right.
Totally.
Right. And
even in my own relationship with my wife, like that's a big issue, is that I should maximize her skills in what we do. But it's also, I think, a lot of how do I do things? That's how things should be done sometimes. And it's like, that's not great.
Exactly. And so here it is, where you do the same thing in real estate. It's the exact same thing. You pick that place, that strategy. So let's say multifamily, and you build that team. Don't try to wait till you get like 100 units, or like you get your first deal, or nope. Build the team now is going to get you to the first deal, because that's your superpower.
And that's exactly, I'm glad you said that, because that is the way I think a lot of time. Oh, once I get to this next step, okay, this next step, all right, that next step is when I'll do. I finally am onboarding a bookkeeper, thank God, because that is such a pain in the ass. Like, and that's taken a ton of my time too, getting them onboarded. But like, I'm finally doing those things and not setting all right, when we get here, when we get there. So I'm glad you obviously identified that as a.
Dude, one of the things that Grant Cardone says that sticks with me is that a lot of small businesses fail because they stay small for too long. And you try to hustle so much, you try to do things on your own so much, that you don't hire the bookkeeper, you don't hire the attorney, you don't hire all of these team members, that if they did their jobs, you'd be able to focus on what you're great on. And so don't wait to have the right people in place that could do what you could do, but they could do it better than you. Like, let's get them in place now, because when that is operating the way that it's supposed to, then the business moves. There's traction, versus your energy is split in so many different places that your results is diluted because you're diluted. So
no, that's pretty much hit the nail on the head. And it's exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
Yeah. Because you can never just focus on the things you should, because there's all this other shit to deal with. Always. But
again, it's not your fault, because here we have these paradigms, right? The paradigms that was picked up by your pop, your grandpa, and your mom, which they're amazing people, but we seen you got to work hard. If you want something done right, do it yourself. Like all these different things. We've seen it modeled, and we're like, yeah, I want to be just like my grandpa. I want to be just like my parents. I suffer with this too. it wasn't until last 2021. I remember it clearly. I remember the time when I was like, I'm doing this no more. We had a project, some rental units about 2 hours away from where I am currently right now. And these rental units needed some cabinets, and we were doing like a burr on it. We just bought it. We bought it creatively. And I had some private money lenders in it, so I knew that we needed to refi at some point. And so wanted to got these cabinets, and there was a sale on some cabinets up in North Georgia, and this property is in Middle Georgia. And so I'm like, I'm gonna save money. I'm gonna go get the cabinets and take it over there. And so I got me a U-Haul truck. I drove to get the cabinets, and on this drive down, like, I'm thinking, I stopped my entire business, which, we were wholesaling, we were doing things like I stopped the entire business to save $700, something that I could have probably I could have hired somebody to go get the cabinets, take it down for maybe $500, maybe, like, and I'm going on the high side.
Mm-hmm.
What's one deal? What's a contract? A contract is like $5,000-$10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I was sitting in traffic, listening to this, like listening to my own mind. And I'm like, never again. This is like, because I was sweating, it was hot. I had to take the cabinets out myself. And I'm like, Keston, this is stupid. Like, it's so dumb. And I'm thinking how proud my parents would be of me, because it's like, man, you're working real hard. Way to go. But then my mentors, what would they say? I'm like, who do I want to be like when it comes to making money? My parents or my mentors? I love my parents, but I want to be like my mentors when it comes to making money.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. So now the who not how comes in, and it's like, and that was it, bro. Like, I have an Airbnb that's next door, and something happens, I'm ready to call somebody else. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. Right next door. Matter of fact, even downstairs. I'm like, let's call somebody in, man. And
That's the switch that I need to make. Even right now, it's still, and I told myself probably 3 different situations, like we have a 4 unit, replacing all the flooring. So on a duplex, replace the flooring myself. And this was like, wow, that's insane. Okay, we're going to remodel the cabinets. Cool. I'll pay a handyman. Me and him will do it 50-50. Okay, the 4 unit, we're replacing all flooring, ripping out the old carpets and all that. All right, my wife and I will rip out the carpets. I'll have someone put in the flooring and do the trim. Okay, cool. So it's like, but I'll go to Lowe's and pick up the flooring and bring it. Like, I'm getting a little bit better, but I just need to make the full leap, because it is such a waste of time.
It is such a waste of time.
And money. Like, really, it's like insane.
Time is so important, man. It's so important, especially when your time starts to be valuable. And here's an exercise that I did that really changed things for me. I listened to this podcast, and this guy said, what do you want to be worth an hour? You need to give yourself that check mentally now. What do you want to be worth an hour? So when you do that, you're going to stop doing things that waste your time. And when you start to measure it up, dude, I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, let's call somebody to come in. I'm not doing it. And I'm pretty handy, but there's certain things that I'm just like, I'm not doing that. Now here's the rub for me. I actually I enjoy certain type of work.
Me
So
too.
like
That's the problem.
carpentry. So I've made like my own desk, and I've made like my own barn doors and stuff like that, right? I enjoy it. Now, I would do it as a play item, not as a, oh, we need to save money, right? It's a hobby. It's a, oh, we need new desks. And I would do it over months. It's not, so every couple of days or whenever, I would go and I'll spend an hour, 2 hours, kind of like getting it from A to B, then B to C. And so it's not like this, oh, let me save money because I don't want to pay somebody else. I've gotten way better at bringing somebody else to get stuff done and doing higher paid activities. You got to. You got to. That's a business. Think about it. Like, you take yourself out of your 9 to 5 job, and you really look at it, and it's almost like, how the heck did I not see this before? You got your boss, you got your people that report to you, you got like all, like you got like a octopus arms of people in this business, but yet still we want to come and be all of that in our business. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. We want to be HR, we want to be the finance team, we want, like, dude, it's how?
Yeah, no, 100%. That's why it never feels like no matter how much time and effort goes to it, it'll never get caught up or it'll never get done, you know.
There's way too many seats in a company for one person to do it all and do it all effectively.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the big one too, right? Yeah, doing it effectively as opposed to just getting it done.
Exactly. Getting it done, you're setting yourself up to fail. And
Mm-hmm.
so now it's a matter of identifying the seats in your business. And that's the reason why I hired a business coach, bro, to help me identify all of the seats in our business so that we could start filling those seats with the right people. And here we get into the like personalities and all these different things, because if you have the wrong person in the wrong seat, that's trouble. See, I can't put you in a collaborative environment because of how you think and what you do. So I
Mm-hmm.
got to put you in a place where you could thrive and do things on your own and give feedback. It doesn't mean you can't work with people, but it wouldn't be a daily kind of like, hey, how's it going, and let's do this together. Like, no. And I used to try to make people into what I thought they should be and how I seen them, and I've crashed and burned so many times. I forgive myself. I don't stay in, like, oh man, I tried this partnership and it didn't work, and I'm like, oh man, that sucked, that didn't work, now I got to
Mm-hmm.
try again, because like, you fail fast. This is one of the things and lessons when I listen to mentors, and I listen and I read all these books and podcasts and all, they talk about failing fast, man. And so when I have friends that stop talking to me and all this type of stuff, I'm like, babe, yes, we're closer. I heard I heard somebody on the podcast say that this would happen. Yes, we're on our way, right? Like, it's happening. And so I get excited when certain things happen, because it means that we're this much closer to success.
Yeah,
This
no,
much closer.
that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's part of it too. Is my fear of failure a lot of the times is it holds me back for sure. Being afraid to fail, but I think it's shifting that and saying we're gonna fail, just fail quickly, quick
Why do you
fail
think
and
you're
learn from
afraid
it.
to fail?
That I think is being the first generation, oldest son of a immigrant, family. I think that there was a lot of pressure and priority and just a lot that was put onto that role, and
Yeah.
it's just like be the role model for your younger brothers, be the role model for all your younger cousins and all that stuff, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that has something to do with it, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that you're probably right. Because when you're put under pressure to perform, and like a whip or something is waiting
Mhm.
for you if you don't, then that stigma of always thinking like there's a consequence if you fail, that typically would keep you there. And so I always talk about the like we fear the red X, right? The red X that your teacher
That's what I
would
was
put
gonna.
on it, and it's
Mhm.
just like, oh, I gotta run from, I don't want a red X. If I get a red X, I'll get in trouble,
Yeah,
and it's so
that's
crazy how you get in trouble in school for working with someone else. They call it cheating, but in business, when you work with someone else, you can make so much more money.
yeah.
It's we're not prepared to work with other people based on the school system, and failing is, dude, like, and if I were to be honest, I go back and I failed a lot. I mean, my average wasn't super high. My grades wasn't super high. It was average, right? I'm like a B minus C plus student. Um, and my parents would always be like, "Dude, you're so smart. Why don't you just study?" And they would try to get me to study, and I'm just like, "Man, this ain't for me, right? School ain't for me." But regardless of how much they would whip me or whatever, they would always still encourage me
Mhm.
and tell me that I'm still smart. I'm still like, they didn't make me feel like the world was gonna end and I'm dumb. And like they didn't do that at all. And so there was this comfort in failing. I didn't feel like the world was gonna end if I failed. Matter of fact, they still gave me the affirmations that I was first and I wasn't last, and I was still above, and I walked in that confidence of them pouring into me, that regardless of what I did, I was still who God made me to be. And I've held that. And so for me, I don't see the red X and fearing to go home with my terrible grades, because I know I might get a whooping, but I know my parents still love me.
Mhm. I
And
think,
so,
yeah, I think you kind of really hit the nail on the head. Is that, yeah, whatever. Like right there, because I would probably be considered like the epitome of a good student with like great grades and all that, but it's because of that fear of failure and the instant results that you got. So everything for me was very results focused.
mhm,
What are your grades? Any missing assignments? And same with college. Like, I've always been a great student. I've been great in the traditional sense to then theoretically be a great employee. And that's the paradigm shift that I'm making. And I've always been entrepreneurial. I've had my own businesses forever, but
mhm,
I've always, as Grant says, in this, I've done this too. I've failed in regards to being too small for too long. Like we've had a lot of success in some of my businesses, but I couldn't maintain it because I was doing too much was dependent on me and I didn't know how to expand from there. And it's happened a few times, whether it's real estate, e-commerce, whatever, and it's just not sustainable. But that's the difference. I think you're the I don't even know if I'm using it right, but your paradigm of having a lot of comfort and support in just what you're doing, regardless of the results, is where I need to overcome that because that's the type of parent, we don't have kids yet, but that's the type of parent I want to be. I don't want my kids to
yeah,
feel like it's A or, either you get an A or whatever. It's you're supported and loved no matter what, because that is unfortunately the paradigm I'm still in, and that's the way I communicate a lot of the times. So that, like you said, that's why I'm not overly communicating with my team. We're focusing on specific tasks, and I let my staff members beneath me do a lot of the other relationship
Mm-hmm.
stuff, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like I know I have those bad paradigms or the way I handle those things. So it's like overcoming that is going to be massive.
Dude, that would be so massive for you. Because then you could try stuff, right? Like, dude, like you gotta you never know until you try. And I like to try big, man. I'm like, man,
Mhm.
let's just if I fail, let me fail big than fail small. You know what I
That's
mean?
dope. Yeah, that's awesome.
Like people are gonna laugh anyway. They're gonna say whatever they want to say anyway. At least it was going after 40 millis, right? Like versus like playing child's play. Because if it hits, ooh man, it's amazing. But
Mhm.
if it flops, it's like, dang, we gotta pivot. Like, what do we do? And but is the pivot any easier for a little deal than it, like the stress is gonna be the same, that everything is gonna be the same. Like, I don't care if it's $100 million or if you had to pay back a private money lender $100,000. That stress of you having to pay it back is going to be exactly the same.
Mhm.
You're not going to be like, well, it's only 100,000. I got to pay this person back. No big deal. You're still going to stress like it's 100 million.
Yeah.
Just go big. The learning curve to learn to do something is still going to be the same. To do single family, the learning curve is you still got to learn, you still got to invest your time, you still got to like understand how all of that works. Guess what? The learning curve to do multifamily, you still got to invest your time, you still got to understand how it works. It's the same learning curve, the
Mhm.
exact same learning curve. What's challenging is the belief that you deserve to do it. That's different.
Definitely. My wife could probably expand on that, just like, because I do see the world the way it is, and how much disparity there is, right? And I feel very fortunate what we've been able to accomplish in our life already. And it's just like, but at the same time, I anchor myself to a lot of people struggling. And it just like is hard to emotionally detach from that and say, or want to help others, right? Like that's the goal. That's why I want to be able to share stuff on social media, although I'm afraid of failing at that. Everything afraid of failing. So it's like, just don't start or whatever, or just stick in the learning phase. Like you said, good, I've taken action. And I'm surprised sometimes that I've taken action and we've done what we've done. But like, I get stuck in the learning phase. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm two different multifamily trainings and reading some books. At the same time, I'm like, I haven't even called or I called one broker and then he kept calling me. I was like, shit, I don't even know what to do right now. And it's like, the deal doesn't make sense. It's in San Diego and it just is so bad. Like the entry cap's like 1.5%. I mean, it's like ridiculous. It's just like, and yeah, and the laws don't favor us here. So, but it's just like, that's where I'm stuck, is that learning phase too sometimes.
Yeah.
Going back to my tendencies of wanting to work hard, or just finding comfort in motion rather than action, because there's no real, and I do the mindset stuff, right? So there's no real impact to not succeeding in the learning and the motion phase, but the real impact is what you don't achieve over that, in the long term, because you're stuck in motion forever. Like
Exactly.
I'm not going to lose $100 million by never doing anything but learning, but I'm also never going to make $100 million by just reading a book. So,
Exactly.
I get stuck in that, especially every level that I try to push myself to.
There's a whole lot of knowledgeable people that don't take action, bro. There's a bunch of them that knows and could coach from the sideline, but haven't done it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have determined in my heart that I was gonna do it, go through it, then be able to teach it, then be able to coach it. And I'm telling you, man, I still go through it. I still go through this um learning curve. of going through, we call it the terror barrier, right? Like it's just that terror that you just got to break through that wall. And you absolutely, like, it doesn't matter what stage in the game you are. If you're going to another level and you got to learn something new, there's a new terror barrier that you got to break through. It don't matter. You could be a 100 millionaire, but if you're trying to get to a billionaire, you got to learn something new. You got to do something different, right? And so because some new strategy and doing that, getting there, because you've probably been a millionaire for the last couple of years, there's new challenges, new thoughts, and it's just like, man, okay, now I got to buy a plane because that gives me tax write-offs. Could I afford a plane? Like, what would I think would, and so now your mind is like working against you, and like it doesn't matter what stage in the game you are, you're gonna, unless you're comfortable and you're just like, I am good, I am not moving from here. Anyone growing has to go through that process of a new terror barrier because they got to learn something new. And so don't feel like anyone is exempt. It's just the doers make it. The thinkers play on the sidelines. The doers, they just break through the terror barriers as fast as possible. And man, I'm going through a crap ton of terror barriers right now. Like now I've committed to focusing solely on my coaching company, and like that's a new terror barrier for me. I haven't built a coaching company and like just marketing myself as such and all that type of stuff. Like that's new for me. It's different. And so I'm like trying to break through that brick wall in your background right now. It's just like, oh my God, this is, how do I do it? What do I need to do? Who do I need? Like I need a new network and all that type of stuff. And I mean, even my event tomorrow, like, dude, there's 100 millionaires on there, like people that had net worths of, it's crazy. And being able to have them on my event and all of that type of stuff, like I feel blessed. But at the same time, I gotta hold this focus that everyone is human. And it doesn't matter where they're at. They know something that I don't. My job is to learn what they know. That's the only difference between us. Right. And now start getting their habits, and so these are walls that I'm breaking. Like my parents, they work hard. I've gotten so much from them, but when it comes to finances, we weren't able to learn that from them. And so now I gotta take these people who I look up to and create. This is big. I have to create an environment to get them to have the attention and get the attention that I desire. I couldn't just walk into their office and be like, hey, give me a minute of your time. I created something. And so in creating an event where they could pour in and I could also learn as I help others learn, now they're like, this is an action taker. I want to be around a guy like this because I see myself like them. And this is a concept that I have adopted. I think from where I want to be, not of it. Because when you think of it, you think of the steps to get there. When you think from it, you just do the things that they do. Mm-hmm. What do? Grant puts on a big event. I'm going to put on a big event. He brings on very important people. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring on very important people. Because I'm thinking from the goal. What do? I need their habits. I need to do what they're doing. If I think from it, I'm like, man, that would be really nice. I'm going to learn. I'm going to climb the stairs, these little stupid stairs, instead of like, man, I'm here already. What's up? Right? Like try it.
No, that makes a lot of sense too. It's sometimes it's distilling down what are those habits that is challenging too, right? So I've been focusing more on my personal habits of working out more consistently now that I'm not forced to from the army.
Yeah.
We've always eaten right. Finance has always been pretty good, it's automated. So it's just like those personal things, trying to do the miracle morning, trying to wake up on time. I know it's like that they say you don't want to break your first promise to yourself every day.
Oh
I
yeah.
just have like I don't know what it is. I just have not had I think it's because of lack of clarity is like, what am I gonna do? So at least it's easy when it's like, okay, I'll just go to the gym. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
But trying to define those daily habits
So let's
personally.
get you more clear, bro, because you need that destination to go to. So multifamily, that's what you chose. Um, how many units would you want?
It's hard because I just made great connections in the markets that I like yesterday of off market brokers in the 4 to 10 unit range. Once again, is that the best use of my time? Probably not. But if they're
Forget
good
about that.
deals,
Tell
I
me, tell
know.
me what you want. What do you want?
I think I need at least 40 to 50 plus so that it makes a lot of financial sense to have the property management like so that it can be ran like a business and there's enough income to be able to cover the costs of the employees or the contractors who handle that. So I think it
Okay,
has to
so
be 40 plus, 50 plus,
nope. So you're at 75. And
75.
75 plus is where it makes sense. Not that a 40, 48 or something like that can't handle it, but if you want true management and like because they're big property management companies that they will not take on a 48 unit, or if they do, the price what they would charge would be a lot higher. At 75 units you could get like a industry multifamily industry standard property management company to take care of it where the payroll and everything makes sense. So
Mhm.
just go for 75 if that's the goal. Based on your logic, 75 is where you'd start.
I want to force myself to think, like we said, like think from or whatever,
Yeah.
like from what am I doing now that I hate, which is doing everything,
Yeah.
to setting myself up for the position in which I know that I don't have to do everything. Like that's part of the business. It is a full on business. You can't just mom and pop that.
100%.
That's not going to work. So I'm trying to think what asset would require that because everything, smaller, unfortunately, you can do it yourself,
Who's
and
going to
that's
be
hard
an
for a person
integrator?
like me. That is a good thing to think about. I don't know yet. I mean, I've met, I have various, let's say, partnerships for different things, but it's like really like joint ventures, I would say more than
Yeah.
anything. I don't have a clearly defined, let's say, integrator in the large multifamily space because I'm not yet in the right communities at this moment, which I will be in. Trying to identify that. A lot of what I've seen is blind chasing the blind, which works sometimes, but it's a lot harder. So,
A lot harder. So here's what one of my business coach, anytime I have this great idea and like I want to start something new, here's what he asked me. The first question he asked me is, "Who's the integrator in that business, Gaston?" Uh, it's not a business. Shut it down. That's a job. I'm
mhm.
like, dang, right? That's without an integrator, you have a job. Without somebody to run the ship for you, in that sense of, and it doesn't mean that you're 100% hands off, but if your job is to create relationships, to get money, and all this type of stuff, somebody got to run the numbers and all that type of stuff. And so, um, it would be important to at least have that JV person, even if they're not your partner just yet, and you guys are JVing on a deal. Look for somebody that could fill the gap. That'll be the right person for you, not somebody that thinks just like you. You don't want
Mhm.
somebody that thinks just like you. You need somebody that could fill the gap and do a lot of the other things that you don't want to do or you're not as good at, right?
Yeah.
So 75 units, you need an integrator. What type of properties would you go after?
What do you mean
A
specific? Like,
B A B
oh,
C class.
so I know what you and Carlos, A properties ideally, or at least we'll end a, location. Um, I think we're in the market if you could find those deals to try to find those types of properties because no one really wants to do a big value add property deal right now, lending
Mhm.
and, just the amount of risk involved with that. So I'd prefer not to own any C class properties, maybe A and B class properties. I
Cool.
know B is almost non-existent, but really like those A and B class properties is the dream, something I'm proud of truly owning because a lot of my stuff cash flows great, but I wouldn't say I'm like even my fourplex, right? I downplayed it in regards to, hey, it's mom and pop operation. It's, whatever. Like I want properties that I'm truly proud of, not, and that also cash flow,
Yeah.
but that's the hard part because my properties are great for real estate. They're not
Hmm.
anything that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so proud of this building. Like, look at this building. I'm going to show it
Yeah.
off on everywhere,
Yeah.
That's where I'd love to be. But I know it's hard,
No, no, it's not. It's not hard. You saying it's hard makes you not see it
Hmm.
because you're not looking for it. That's the block you put on yourself immediately by just saying it's hard. As soon as you start to say this is what I want, you're going to start to see a lot more of it.
Totally. I've experienced that, right? You're looking for a car. It's like, shit,
Exactly.
everyone's driving that car.
Exactly. There you go. Perfect example. The RAS, right? Um so yeah, it starts so cool. We got class A, class B, um we got
75 plus
75
units.
units. Now, what else
How
do
do you
you
have
need?
well, that's the thing, right? Multifamily, your team's different. Are you saying you need me in an integrator and then to fill in the other roles of like maybe someone who's more on the capital side, maybe someone who's better at underwriting? Or are you saying a two-person team could probably handle this?
A two-person team could start it. You're still
Okay.
going to need all the other roles.
To find deals and all that as well as what you're saying. Primarily is where you start with
Yeah,
you and your integrator are trying to find deals, like at least to start, and then you fill in the roles.
exactly.
Got it.
Because you both could probably hustle and probably get a deal on the contract or whatever, right? Like from people sending you guys deals or whatever, but at least you have somebody heading the ship and you have somebody that knows how to man the ship, right? At least you have that. But then you start filling in all the roles and again, it depends on is this here, here's the biggest thing that I think everybody needs to think about. Everybody. I asked earlier, Michael, why are you doing this? Right? Like, understand why you're doing real estate. Because if it is, you buy your 7,500 unit property, you've gotten to your goal. Are you going to build a team to continue after you've already hit your goal? I think people buy all these systems and all of that. Like, hey, you just need one property. Is it just that and you're going to then travel the world or whatever? Like, why are you doing this? Is this now your business? Oh, I thought you wanted to spend more time with your family. Like,
Mhm.
did that change? Right?
I
So,
lean much more towards that. Has always been the it's a means to an end. Has have always thought about it, and I know there are downfalls, the pros and cons to all that. Like I don't have massive aspirational wealth, and sometimes that makes me feel bad in the communities that I run in because a lot of people have generational wealth goals, long legacy goals, and for me, I feel very good about what we've already done, but it's
mhm.
like the number one goal is the financial independence and then to pursue what we want. Whether it is, I don't know. I want the option, I guess. That's really what I want. I don't know yet.
You
And
want to
that's just
hear, don't feel bad. Here's, I've never admitted this. I don't have a big aspirational goal. Although I want to leave generational wealth,
Mhm.
here's how I'm going about achieving it. And 3 years ago, I told my wife, here's the game plan. Let's get into real estate. Let's get to a certain place and then pursue purpose. At that
Mhm.
point in time, I had no idea what my purpose was or anything like that. But like, let's do something more intentional. On the journey, I felt like, ooh, this coaching thing, like helping people, ooh, that the feeling it gives me, boom, I found my purpose, right? I found the thing that makes me feel amazing. We got to a certain place. I'm like, thank you, real estate. You've done exactly what I needed you to do. Now I'm getting off of this train and I'm pursuing purpose.
Wow, that's amazing to hear that you've spent all that time and energy and effort to build to that point and then really committed to that and not saying sunken cost fallacy. I've already put all this time and effort into it. Like I need to keep doing it. No, you literally pivoted or you've done what you wanted to, which is great because I feel like that is a brick wall to overcome as well. It's like, well, we've already built all this, might as well keep going. But you said I knew this was a means to an end. Now it's time to work on the things that
Everyone
I've
I
always wanted
communicate
to.
with, everyone I communicate with, I tell them, and this was 3 years ago when I got into sub two and all of that. All my
Mhm.
people that I met, I'm like, I'm not doing this for very long. I'm telling y'all right now. I'm a hustle like it's my last life, but I'm not doing this forever. Like I made it super clear to everyone that I worked with that this isn't gonna be for very long. But here's the crazy thing. Because of what I want to do and how I want to do it when it comes to my purpose, I have to make a lot of money to hit the goal of my purpose to be able to help the amount of people I want to help.
Mhm.
And now I'm making even more money than real estate in
Wow.
my purpose. I can't say I planned it that way, but like Jim Rohn says, you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And so I don't focus on my own generational wealth. I focus on legacy as to how I want to be remembered in helping people. And everything kind of just happens
That's amazing. That is awesome. Especially that you found your purpose through this journey, you know?
because I've been looking for it. I've been
Yeah.
super intentional about it. You know what my Instagram handle was before I made it into Kessa on purpose? It was difference maker Kess. I've been hunting for this thing for a while, like because I used to be such the opposite of who I am today.
Wow.
And so when I made up my mind that I was gonna go on this journey to be a better person and to really start like wanting that change, that was the first name that I had. I'm like, I'm gonna be a difference maker in this world. And so it was difference maker Kess. And then once I started, I'm like, it's Kess on purpose. They both mean the same darn thing, you
Mhm.
know? Um, and I just kept going, bro. And now I'm just like caught a gear and I'm like, I'm gonna ride this thing all the way like to the end. I love doing what I do, bro. Like I love having these conversations. I love helping people see clarity and gain clarity. I love being able to relate in the midst of terror barriers and like wanting to let go of that lifestyle of mom and dad, they're hard workers, that's all I know how to do it alone, to um how do you break through that and start working with people, or like how to fail fast and how to know um that I'm gonna want to go back to the person I used to be versus who I'm trying to work towards, like understanding and knowing that inevitably you're going to want to go back. And if you're not around the right community, having the right accountability, that you are going to go back, like helping people through that, you know, because that's what I help people with in my high performance coaching program. And like, it's just, I've taken my journey of change and I'm like, I want to help people like me. I want to
Mhm.
help people who has been through what I've been through, who are trying to change their lives and signed up for the gym membership and they keep stopping by March kind of thing. Like I want to help get you to at least July or December so that you could do it again, you know, like let me help you. And so that's kind of been my mission, especially with, you know, aspiring entrepreneurs, man. So it fires me up. There's no feeling. I've gotten like crazy big checks and nothing makes me feel as good as having these types of conversations.
That is awesome. And it's good to hear people in the real estate community who have succeeded, and they're not necessarily, it's not like I necessarily care about real estate. Like I said, like it's not like I'm so passionate about stocks or whatever the businesses the
Yeah,
stocks represent. Like it's really a means to an end. So it's great to hear others who have succeeded thinking with the same mentality. But obviously, you said you worked extremely hard those 3 years to figure yourself out and to succeed in those worlds, to then be able to really go full on to your, you know, your true purpose.
I definitely hustled. That's no lie there.
You still are. I mean, definitely.
And you see, I've gotten so used to working at a high level. I feel like right now I do not work as hard as I used to at all. I feel like I'm
Wow.
in cruise control right now. Cruise. But some people would see me working and they're like, dude, you do a lot. And I'm like, dude, I'm chilling. Like, I feel like I need a new challenge, you know, which I do have one. But I'm used to doing several things and I'm really just like focused right now. I'm just super focused, bro, on bringing value, on really just wanting to help others create um, a life they desire because it's possible. I love my damn life. Um, yeah, and I'm not like, you know, I just live from abundance now versus like trying to go to it. I'm like, man, I'm already abundant. Let me just help others kind of get the mindset, change their point of perspectives, and because the strategy is the easy piece, bro. The mind is way more difficult than the strategy. Way more difficult, you know. So yeah. What else you got, bro? Any final questions as we wrap up?
Well, uh, I mean, I kind of know, probably already know what the answer is, but what do you recommend for someone trying to make this make this transition? Because it is hard to overcome. You know, I'm reading some books and all that. It's one thing to read a book, it's another thing to actually implement it, and it's another
Mhm.
thing to really like truly understand it and really implement it and maximize it. So, what do you recommend in this type of transition, trying to just get the mindset right? Because it is my biggest roadblock in everything. I have a more negative, afraid of failure, you know,
Yeah.
mindset, and it's limiting, you know, for
Mhm.
sure.
I would
Limiting
say that
beliefs. That's another limiting beliefs for sure.
community, the right community, the community that focuses on that stuff like all day, every day kind of thing. And the reason why I say that is because if it is, here's what I understand about this journey, and which is why I've created a community just for this, is because we're gonna have this amazing conversation right now, and then you're gonna leave and you're gonna start to have thoughts. You might be inspired. That inspiration runs out, man.
Mhm.
that motivation runs out. And so unless you're able to reconnect and have somebody to talk to with accountability and say, dude, like I'm having these thoughts like to go back, or I'm not doing this, or somebody to check up on you, or like just any anything of the sort, you're gonna start to retract, kind of like Homer Simpson in the trees, right? You're just gonna
Mhm.
start to go back in it. Yeah, like literally. Um, because now, even though you know your next steps to kind of like some of the things that you could do to buy a multifamily, not being in the right community to encourage, to motivate, to keep that going, to build that new habit, you're gonna go. Most people would go back. Most people would go back to the life they used to live because that's a lot more comfortable. They understand that. They're good with that. Until someone's pain gets greater than their desire, that's one of the ways that you do it without needing a community.
And that's the hard part. I don't foresee that. I think we've set ourselves up so well that that will almost never be the case, which is scary to
Exactly.
me because I see the path of comfort almost forever now. So it's
Yeah,
either I overcome that because it's not going to be one of those things where, hey, I don't know where I'm going to get my next paycheck or how I'm going to feed my kids or whatever. Like, I don't foresee anything like that happening with the way we've set ourselves up. So it's like it needs to be something else. There needs to be another catalyst because it's not going to be that.
exactly. So then it's the community, it's the mentor, it's purpose.
Mhm.
Like it's all of those things combined, which should come from that community. Um, but purpose is your guiding light as to the thing that makes you still wake up with excitement to go out and be like, I gotta get to work today.
Mhm.
I gotta do this thing. I gotta show up. It's those things that remotivate you, but having the assistance, having the person to talk to when you don't feel like doing it, but also understands. And it's not like I it's in my guidelines. When people come in, it's in my guidelines that everybody knows that they're gonna want to quit on this journey. I tell everyone, I'm like, you're probably gonna tell me no. You're probably gonna tell me like, man, I'm here, I'm gonna do this and all of that. Yeah, that's because it's week one. So that's cool, right? By week 6, it's almost like signing up for a Tough Mudder, and you're like in a triathlon, and after like the first 20 minutes, you're like, why did I decide to do this crap? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I'm sure every drill or something that you've done in the military, at some point in time, you're like, why do what the heck is wrong with me? But you get past it, right?
Mhm.
It's gonna be the same. This journey is gonna be the absolute same. Like, but having someone that understands and knows what phase of the journey you're at, because it always resets every new goal, every new thing. You get to that new place, then let's say you get to 50K a month passively, right? Amazing. Do you believe you're still gonna stress out just leaving your job?
So yeah, if you asked anyone right now why I haven't left yet, because we hit our tier 1 financial independence
Sure.
goals. Quite honestly, we've already hit that. So we've expanded that to replace because that was even less than my what I make in my W-2. So it's like, well, all right, let's at least try to recreate the W-2 income. So I'm afraid that I could get to that point and say, you know what, like, because if you ask people, like I've talked to people and who have done it, and they're like, wait, you've already done what you needed to, basically leave. But for me, it's like, would I maximize the time, the extra 40 hours a week that I have, to the point that it's worthwhile. Like it's more worthwhile, whether it's for purpose or financially, like, you know, so, and you can hear me making a lot of excuses, but
They're not. I hear this all the time. There are people who ease up on their goal because they don't know what's next.
mm-hmm.
What do I do when I have all of this time? Like, that's a scary thing for some people, man.
Especially in the mode that I'm in right now, where it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like,
Yeah.
I'd hate to do that for 40 more hours a week.
Yeah, where there's no clarity, bro, there's like you could justify your life away to stay at your, you're not saying you want to stay at your job, but you're not taking the action to get away from it because you don't know what's next.
Mm-hmm. Definitely that, and then the time outside of the W-2, there's so much lack of clarity in regards to, like, oh, which Zoom am I going to attend, which training, which book am I, you know what I mean, as opposed to,
Yeah.
okay, what are the specific actions that lead me to my clear next goal, you know? So I really appreciate you. We just put some things down on paper, but it's great. Just 75 units, A and B class properties, need to find an integrator partner that can help me maintain the ship while I head it. Like, that
Yep.
already is more clarity than I've had in quite a while. So it's just more real estate for more cash flow, you know, with cash on cash return. You know, it's the buy box, but
Yeah,
the buy box without, and even pretty open to different markets and all that. So it's like, you know, trying to be concise, because otherwise you're wasting time underwriting every deal on whatever the case is.
100%, dude. 100%, dude. This has been fun. This has been fun. It was great connecting with you again and talking. Um, Clearly, success is within reach. It's now a matter of you going out and actually doing it at this
Mm-hmm.
point. So I look forward to hearing more of your successes and helping you get to your journey, get to that place and knowing what's next, man. Because that's, you know, when you understand that, you'd break through this wall so fast that you have. I mean, right now, you know that you're kind of playing in the kiddies pool right now, as I
100%.
put it.
Yeah.
You know?
With floaties on, kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm swimming, but like I'm not moving.
Yeah, you know, and that's what happens when you don't know what's next, bro. And so, but
Or
it was
swimming in circles. That's another good analogy, is what it feels like. Constantly swimming, but always ending in the same. Like, seriously, it's so frustrating sometimes. But it's so hard to overcome, for sure.
clarity, guidance, bro. This is where it's at, man. Any final words before we get out of here, brother?
No, I mean, I really appreciate it. Obviously, you know, on your Transformation Tuesdays, whenever you're coming through, you know, sub two, I like to listen to those. They're the best thing to listen to at the gym, for sure. They're more motivating than anything else. So I love it. I really appreciate you taking this time. I'm going to watch this like 5 times and really try to extract some of the highlights and really incorporate them. And I'll reach out to you afterwards.
Awesome, brother. Well, it was a pleasure. My pleasure. My cup is filled just being here and helping you do this. So thanks a lot again, Matt, Michael. Guys, this was an amazing session. Amazing session. We worked through and talked through a lot of things that I know that many people could identify with. Like, it may not be you today, but at some point, if you're becoming an entrepreneur, if you still have a 9 to 5 and you're wanting to get on this journey, you could see yourself at some point in this conversation that I just had with Michael. And so thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your amazing views and everything like that. Don't forget, the birthday celebration goes down tomorrow. That's going to be amazing. So continue to share the link. Continue to share this with someone who you think could benefit from listening to Michael's story. And it's our purpose and mission to help and spread this word to those who want to leave their 9 to 5 job or just understand what you should know before leaving, having the clarity before leaving, having the community before leaving. So peace and love. Catch y'all on the next one. Tomorrow we go back. No, tomorrow it's not. It's not. No session tomorrow. We're gonna be live from the birthday celebration tomorrow. So see you at the birthday celebration, the Go Giver birthday celebration. Peace and love. Catch you guys later.